Hey, what are you doing today, Rick? See you.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. You guys have some great reports here for this evening.
Not for this evening, but I think the next meeting.
The next meeting? Okay, sounds good. Hey, Carlo.
Hey, how's it going, Leroy?
Good. Hey, Patricia.
Hello. Hi. How's everybody?
Good.
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Let's see, we got Carlo so far and Rick and Leroy.
We're starting to add up.
Yeah.
Well, Rick and I don't really comprise a quorum, so we still need a few of your colleagues to show up.
We'll get them.
Here's Janet.
Hey, Janet.
Of course, we still need more numbers in order to get a quorum, so we're on our way.
Yeah, we're a few minutes early anyhow.
Yeah.
Yep. Good to see everyone.
Likewise.
So Patricia, I've been trying to find some authors for Juneteenth where I'm trying to get word out from various groups to see if we can capture some. So
I've been doing the same thing.
oh, good.
I have been doing the same exact thing. I sent a email to Ursula just yesterday for someone that I met through networks, and asked Ursula to add her email and information. She never answered me, actually. but
I know.
You know, all we could do is just keep plugging away and keep telling people. I
Yep.
found out that my pool guy, he is a longtime La Mesa resident, and he holds a podcast and has about 1,000 followers.
Oh,
And
fabulous.
yeah, so I'm gonna go on and to his podcast and, you know, try to get the word out that way. So I'm just like, whatever avenues to try to get the word out, and we'll just keep building it.
Yep, we'll get there.
Just
And
keep
remind ourselves it's the first year and we'll do the best we can.
we'll do the best we can, you know, it's all right.
It's all good.
And Janet, Patricia, do we have like a meeting schedule? I'm definitely ready to do whatever. I
Oh,
can do.
yes,
So,
we
yeah.
have. We'll add your name to the list.
Do
Add
Yeah,
my
we
name to the list.
ever?
Add my name to the list. And
Good. Yeah, it's a great group. It's
Okay.
led by Alan Durden and
Okay.
Patricia Dillard. So it's a
Okay.
great group. And yeah, thank you. In fact,
I'd love
I've
to
been
do that.
thinking we should ask.
Yeah, we have a long list of all kinds of ways that you can contribute,
Okay.
small or big, it doesn't matter. We're not picky.
Okay. All right. Well,
We have a meeting coming up, so we'll
Okay.
send your information over so that you could be added to the list, and you'll be notified with the link.
okay.
And you can just come in and listen, or
Mhm.
add your 2 cents, whatever you want to do. But we're really getting organized and ready now. So
That sounds great. Well,
we're
please.
we're almost there. It's going to be held at MacArthur Park.
Okay. That's great.
And it happens to be on Father's Day, but I think that it's going to be in between like most of the things that fathers would do on that day. So it's
Mhm.
I think it's still gonna work out.
I think so. That sounds good. Okay. That's great.
Probably be like 10:30 to 3:30 or something like that. So it's doable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't set in concrete the time yet, but it's gonna be right around in that time.
Right, that time frame. That sounds
Yeah, in
good.
case people want to go to breakfast or they want to go to dinner. It's just
Mm.
right smack in the middle.
Well, it's a good location. I like
Yeah.
the location.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Okay,
That's
good.
great.
You Gotta,
Yeah,
Well,
it'll be walkable from the village too. So
Yeah.
we're hoping we can attract some people um, from there as well.
yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of,
Walkable from trolleys too. From the
yeah, from the
trolley stop.
trolley.
Yeah,
Yeah, from the trolley stop. That's good.
that's all good.
Right.
So, all right, we're getting there. Let's see, we've got 2, 4, 5. We need a few more people coming on. Oh, Mike McWilliams is here. Larry, let's see who else.
So that makes 6.
Yeah, we've got 6, so technically we can start. Is Megan ready for us?
I am.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and start at 4 p.m.
Yeah, somebody else just came in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but
All right. Did you want me to go ahead and start with roll call?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that. Thank you, Megan.
Board member Tiffany? Board member Sylvester? Board member McWilliams?
Here.
Board member Johnson?
Here.
Board member Fuentes? Board member Duff? Board member Davis? Board member Darby?
Here.
Vice Chair Dillard?
here.
Chair Castanes?
And I just want to say that Caitlin Tiffany teaches till about 4:15, so she let me know she will be arriving late. So plan on her being here. She just needs to get finish up with her students. So, all right, thank you all for being here. And I'm sure the others will come in as they are able. First of all, let's start with the pledge, and Mike McWilliams has agreed to lead us in the pledge. So Mike.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as it currently is printed?
There are no additions or deletions to the agenda, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. As far as public comments go, Megan, are there any public comments for items not scheduled on the agenda today?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay,
And we're no
great.
longer, just as a friendly reminder, the new public comment policy is either e-comments prior to the meeting or hands raised during the meeting for public
Okay.
comments.
That's right. So they'll all be from hands raised if we hear them. Otherwise, we'll receive an email, but they won't be read out loud.
Correct.
Are there any conflict disclosures among board members in regards to the current agenda items? Seeing none, we can move forward with current business. Agenda item 5.1 is the approval of the minutes from the December 1st, 2021 meeting. You've had a chance to look over the copy. If you have any concerns, please state so now. Otherwise, we can make a motion to approve.
I move the approval of the minutes December.
Larry Darby has made a motion,
I second.
and Leroy Johnson seconded.
Yeah.
Great. So Megan, I'll let you take roll.
Board member McWilliams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Board member Johnson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Board member Sylvester, how do you vote? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you, board member Sylvester. Board member Sylvester, how do you vote? Oh, I see her there. Okay, we'll go ahead and move forward. Board Member Fuentes, how do you vote?
Abstain since I wasn't here in the last meeting.
Board Member Davis, Darby, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Chair Dillard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chair Kristanos, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Board Member Sylvester, are you able to state your vote? Board Member Sylvester? I see her. Okay, so motion carries with, hold on, I'm sorry, I got to tally this up with people missing. I apologize. I'm trying to see who's still in and who came late. So Board Member McWilliams, Board Member Johnson, Board Member Darby, Vice Chair Dillard, and Chair Castanos voted yes. Board Member Fuentes abstained. Motion carries.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah, Yashika might be having trouble with her technology, so
Yeah.
probably get on soon. Okay, great. Thank you for that, Megan. So item 5.2 on the agenda is the La Mesa Police Department update, and it looks like we have Chief Sweeney here to give us some information.
Good afternoon, board. It's good to see everybody. Happy Wednesday. Trying to keep the days together. Just real quick before I give an update, we had to shift our staff meeting, our internal staff meeting to this week because myself and a couple other staff members were gone last week. So I will have to cut out of here at about 4:30. But if anybody does have any follow-up questions for me, you know where I'm at. I just want to put that out there. A couple things I wanted to give you an update on, just real quick, just to give you a preface, is SB 34 and SB 54. Those are both Senate bills. The SB 54, which will start first, was the immigration bill for local police agencies working or actually not working with Border Patrol immigration agents to enforce any immigration laws. That went into effect. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact year, but it was a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, I think it was. And we implemented policy that basically detailed that for our officers so that they know we don't have any Border Patrol officers here in our station. We work with them in emergency situations, obviously, if they call the police like anybody else and they would need help, but we don't work with them on any immigration status. And once our policy was developed, there was a review, a report card, if you will, that came out and said that there were 3 things that they thought were missing from our policy to keep us completely in compliance. We've looked at that, and we are, as you know, we're in the middle of transitioning to Lexipol right now. What we found is that the agencies that got 100% on that report card are all Lexipol agencies.
Oh.
So that's a good thing. So we're actually this week and next week, those policies are being finalized. So once that's done, we'll reach out again, but that should bring us 100% in compliance with SB 54 and the things that we were asked to put in there. So that should put the bow on that one moving forward. The second thing I want to talk about is SB 34. A lot of you had seen the articles that were written on SB 34, and that Senate bill is basically for license plate readers that agencies have. We have those license plate readers. They're attached to some of our police vehicles when they're driving around. Basically what it does is if there's a wanted vehicle that's in the system, not a wanted vehicle, but a wanted license plate, it'll show a picture. It'll take a picture of that plate. The officer can see that that car or that plate is right next to them, and it's up to them to look around to find it. We solved a lot of crimes with these plates as far as any follow-up. Somebody has a partial plate that they've given us. We can run it in the system to find out where it's been, either in the county. And when the report was done, the reporter called out that we were sharing information with other police agencies outside the state of California. And in the article, the opinion was that the Senate bill, which was established in 2015, prevented agencies from sharing outside the state of California. So what we did at that time, historically, just so you have a couple glances into what we do, we pushed that off to our city attorney's office to get an opinion. and a review. The opinion that came back did not think that we were violating SB 34. So what I did at that time is I asked my staff, I said, why are we sharing with Florida and New York? That didn't really make a lot of sense to me initially. I said, if we're sharing anything around the bordering states, that makes sense. And as a matter of fact, we had one incident specifically where we had a carjacking that occurred here off of Baltimore. A guy took a lady's car at gunpoint with an AR-15 rifle, took off in her car. We were looking for that car forever. And we started getting license plate hits from these readers in Arizona and then ultimately in Texas, where that person was taken into custody. So that's the benefit of those license plate readers. Obviously, the reporter had an opinion that we were violating the law on that. We wanted to make sure that we obviously check with our attorneys. And so the next article that came out said that we had refused to stop sharing the information. And I just want to let you know that we never refused. We obviously go on legal advice moving forward. There's been a lot of controversy with that. Many agencies within the county here actually pulled back and said that they're not going to share with any agencies outside of California anymore. And the bill text basically says that we can share with a public agency, and it's defined as the state, any city, any county, so on and so forth. So when that second article came out, I talked with my staff. We took a look at it all together. I decided to suspend the sharing of our license plate reader information with any states other than California. So we did that effective February 1st. And, you know, I got to tell you, we'll definitely do what is within the law, and that is what we will always do. My concern, and I just want to voice this publicly, is, you know, at 9/11, we had the terrorist attacks, 9/11, law enforcement in general, federal and local, were chastised basically because we didn't share enough information. And so now we're being asked not to share information again. To me, that's concerning. That's a silo that I don't think we should get into, but obviously if that's the law, we will follow it. But I did want to put that opinion forward. So that's where we're at right now with SB 34. We've stopped sharing with other agencies outside of the state of California. Moving on, anybody have any questions on that?
I just wanted to say, Chief Sweeney, that I really appreciate your willingness to work with the community and hear their concerns. You know, your main point was that and I think statewide, everyone's waiting for the court case up in Marin County to be resolved and a verdict come forward where everyone will know at that point whether or not it really and truly is illegal to share license plate data across state lines as long as it's used strictly for law enforcement and not for immigration. You had been working based on that assumption that that was the case, and it appears to be the case to this point. I think that, you know, you have, I mean, the fact that you've agreed to wait until the Marin County court case is decided is very much appreciated. And that's a really valuable step forward. And I just wanted to read to all of you. I was asked by the reporter from iNewsSource about my reaction to Chief Sweeney's decision. And I said, I support Chief Sweeney's decision to abide by the outcome of the Marin County court case. I also respect Sweeney's interim move to only share license plate data with in-state law enforcement agencies. So I think, you know, at this point, you know, you've taken a really perfect, I think, perfect way to address this, to address the needs and the concerns of people in the community. And it's a matter of waiting for the court case. That will be the ultimate, you know, decision for us before we move forward with the final decision. So, I mean, it's your decision, but thank you for listening and hearing concerns of the community.
Absolutely. And, everything's a learning process. If it turns out that Marin County decides that, that Senate bill did mean that, then that's what we'll do. But like I said, I mean, moving forward, just so everybody has that information, we definitely don't want to silo. I think that's a very dangerous move across this nation right now, but that's maybe for another time.
Yeah.
But thank you very much. I appreciate that, Chair. I did want to bring you up to date on our staffing. We're doing okay. I say okay because I would love to have more cops and dispatchers that we're trying to hire right now. We just graduated 2 from the police academy last week. So Jesse Newmeister and Alan Lopez, they graduated after being 7 months in the academy. It's typically a 6-month academy, but because of COVID, it got extended, shut down, extended. So they finally did graduate. So they're here with us. They're going through their administrative portion, getting all their ID cards and everything else. And then they will start the field training program here next week. So we're extremely excited for that. We do have our 3 trainees I told you about before. They're still in training. They're doing well. And that's Aaron Sims, Ruben Caleros, and Kevin Brill. We also have Cruz Diaz, which I think I mentioned to you. She graduated, or not graduated, she finished the field training program. So she is out in the city on her own now, working nights. And we have another academy graduate that we hired, Camille, and she's going to kill me for not remembering her last name, but Camille, we just hired her. She comes to us from the sheriff's department, where she worked at Las Colinas Women's Detention Facility. She graduated the academy with the 3 recruits that we have in training right now. So we're excited to be able to borrow her, steal her, whatever you want to call it, from the sheriff's department and bring her here to put her into a field training program. And hopefully she'll excel through that and be done so that we can get more officers on the streets. We still do have 3 technically empty positions that we're trying to fill. We have a couple retirements that are pending right now. So we have a sergeant that will retire in August. We have a lieutenant that will retire in December. And we have potentially another sergeant that will retire sometime this year. So that it's opportunity. Currently right now I have 1 sergeant's position open that I'm holding right now until we get another officer out of training and into that position so we can promote the sergeant. I think I told you last time I promoted Scott Hildebrand to lieutenant. If I didn't, here it is. He was promoted to lieutenant, and thanks again to the CPOB for their being involved in that process. He's the 2nd lieutenant promoted out of that. So we're really trying to look forward and fill those spots before they actually become vacant. I think we have a good plan moving forward. It's, a lot of new supervision coming through, which is a good thing. I tell my guys here and girls that it feels like when I first became a father. I was scared and excited at the same time. When you have a lot of new supervision, it's a great time to start from the beginning, and we've got a great path forward. So I'm really excited. You've seen some of our talent here. We've got a lot more in the hopper that we're looking forward to promoting in the future and getting into that pipeline. So I'm excited about our staffing and scared at the same time. We're working on it. I assure you that the city is safe and that our officers are excited about moving forward basically into 2022 as we step into this new year for policing. With that, I'm open to any questions.
Chief Sweeney, I just have a question. How would you describe the morale at this point, given everything that's been going on in the past?
It's a great question, Vice Chair. Thank you. I would say that right now it is very good. On a scale of outstanding to terrible, we are very good. So that's a good place to be. I'm actually meeting right now individually with every employee here on a one-on-one basis to talk about a few things, what I envision our department doing moving forward, how I can assist them, getting our employees to feel that they are in a safe place, they're valued and they're respected, and that their opinion matters. So in those short conversations, I think I've interviewed probably about 12 employees so far. So I've got a lot more to go. But consistently, they love working here. They're happy to be here. Obviously, went through some tough times for the last 2 years, but people are definitely forward thinking, and they enjoy working in this community and with their partners here at the Mesa Police Department. So very good for them. Soon to get outstanding.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question, Patricia. Thank you for that. Other questions that you have for the chief? It's a good time to get them out. And I just have a question about last year you had the community conversations and listening sessions, and you were indicating that you'd like to get some set up again for this year. Were you thinking about spring or early summer for that? What were you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Spring or early summer. I want to get what I'm really calling the internal conversations done right now. And then I'll look to even having an office hours to where people can come here and set up, just come in and see me and have a talk, or maybe I'll go to a coffee shop and just have people meet me there. But I really want to make it on a personal level. So in the spring, summer, you and I will talk, Chair, about maybe putting something together again that we can partner on.
Right. Yeah, that was really wonderful. I think it really gave the community a chance to clear the air and have their questions answered, and especially to be listened to, which I think you did an excellent job of hearing them, which was important.
No, thank you.
Other questions? All right, Chief Sweeney, thank you so much for all you do. And I know you've got to head off for your meeting, so we
I do. It's
appreciate
nice
it.
to see everybody.
Take care. All right, so the next item on the agenda is 5.3, disposition of recent independent police auditor case review. And let's see, I'm not sure if Dennis or Rick, Rick might be leading us off, or maybe it is Dennis. I see Dennis Montahano.
No, it's me.
Oh, it's Rick. There you are. I couldn't find you in which square were you in?
So we are on the historical cases. We have one outstanding case, which will be finished up here to make our deadline. And we'll be prepared to brief those at the discretion of the board and the city leadership. I have provided a copy of the quarterly report that'll be used in a template, and we'll be ready to present the quarterly report at the next meeting also.
So, and do those quarterly reports then get sent forward to city council?
They're public documents, so I'm not sure y'all have come up with your routing priorities. But once we give it to you guys, have at it. It'll reflect all the cases from the start of 21 through the middle of January. It'll indicate the actions of the police department, the actions of the IPA, and recommendations that we made in the course of doing those cases, as well as the historical review cases.
Arlo, did you have a comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, I wanted to just elaborate and say that what we would intend to do with these quarterly reports is to post them on the CPOB's webpage so that they're publicly available to any member of the community. And then we would, of course, also forward that report to the city council and see if they have any questions.
Great, thank you for that. So Rick and Dennis, I have a question. When we met with you face to face, you're making quarterly trips to La Mesa to visit with us face to face, and a number of us visited the last time, and you had shared some of your review process with us at that time. Is that something that you will have for us next meeting to elaborate on, or how is that going to work?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
the next meeting, we'll be able to provide the quarterly report and a summary of the historical cases.
Okay, because there have been some questions about the follow-up with the letters we received regarding some complaints, and you have been dealing with that and addressing it and coming to a conclusion.
In fact, that case is done. Dennis and I did it ourselves. That was the letter from the concerned citizen about longstanding corruption within the police department going back 4 chiefs. And we met with the author at length, spoke it over, and were able to explain to him that, in our opinion, we were unable to find merit in his allegations, not because he wasn't an honest, forthright human, because he certainly was, just lacked any sort of tangible proof that would allow for a finding of culpability of any kind in his allegations. But I spoke with him on the phone a number of times. We met face to face, Dennis and I and he, and I thought it was very productive. Dennis, I miss anything?
That sounds good. And I thought it was I'm glad we had the opportunity to have the meeting, because he was very concerned about his, his complaint and his issues. And it was great to be able to just sit down with him and have that face-to-face dialogue, take a look at the evidence, additional evidence he brought in. To me, it was perfect. It's kind of, what this is all designed to do is to allow people to be heard and to be taken seriously. And because if there is a situation that, where there's smoke, there's also fire, we need to know that, and so I thought it went very well.
I really appreciate you two taking the time and really hearing him out and going through all the material he brought to you. That was very helpful. And then, I think a lot of us may not be completely clear about the whole process for law enforcement agencies and what they have to go through. So just your expertise, being able to explain things to us citizens that, here's how it works and here's why, if you don't have valid proof of your accusations, there's not much we can do. So, I think that was just a lesson that all of us need to hear from time to time. But the fact that you heard him out, you investigated thoroughly and came up with a conclusion. I think he sounds like he appreciated what you did for him.
And I think I'd add that in addition to understanding what we presented and talked to him about, I believe he understands why we arrived at the conclusion we did, and recognizes that that there needs to be some tangible proof to be able to proceed. I think we cited the example of any kind of court across the country. So he seemed satisfied, and I think that he was happy with the ability to raise his concerns and have them addressed.
And Rick, I know that you guys had also talked to us about a written resolution with him. I think you had stated you were going to write him and ask him how he wanted to either accept the information or how he wanted to communicate. Did you get a
And
chance to do
And
that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just would like to jump in with a Brown Act comment. I know the topic that we're currently on is the disposition of the recent IPA case review. I just wanted to make sure that this is the case that was on the agenda for discussion or not. I wasn't clear.
Yeah, I believe this is the only case that's been completed at this point. So yes, thank you
Okay,
for
sorry
checking.
to interrupt. I wasn't
No,
sure.
that's okay. I mean, it's good we have you. So thank you for that, Caroline. Go ahead, Patricia, you were,
So I got it. She
Oh.
wants to know if we handled that. I did it expeditiously right after the fact. It's been a while. I believe you replied, thank you. Nothing further.
Okay, that's all I was asking is, did he respond and are we okay?
Oh, yeah.
I believe that that went out till the following day. So, yeah.
and thank you for Mike McWilliams for recommending that this is something the IPA should look into. I think that was a good step and you guys have done a great job. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments regarding anything? And this case is not going to, this case is going to be presented in your write-up. And that would be our next meeting, right?
It's included in the quarterly report.
Quarterly report, okay. So with that, item 5.4 on the agenda actually is your presentation about your quarterly report template. So I will let you share with us what that will entail.
I'll have to ask Carlo to do the physical sharing because that technological step is way beyond my. This is an example. This is a public document out of Salt Lake City. Obviously, I chose that because it's recent. It's been publicly posted. And so there's nothing in here that violates anything. So that you can see, these are all the panels, which are full investigations to your point of view. You can see that on our end, all of the cases have a resolution. Most of the cases still have or awaiting pending resolutions from the local police department. You'll scroll down a little bit, Carlo. So when you hear me say that we really like La Mesa, stop there, Carlo. Back up. You can see the volume here versus the volume there. Included in the, right there, Carlos, great, right there. You can see that trends and issues and related to the police department is a rather long series. This is a single topic matter. And so these observations and trends were identified related to the police department. And then if you'll scroll down a little bit, you'll see on the lower right-hand corner where we actually get to the recommendation as it relates. There are a couple of recommendations in this series of case. This is just one of the reports on it. In an effort to gain lessons learned, as well as recap what transpired and how we got there. And this is what you'll find in the La Mesa report, with the exception that there's not nearly as many panels or complaints. But there are a lot of recommendations in the first quarterly report that'll come out next month. Any questions?
So what questions do you have about this template, and is it comprehensible to you and to citizens? Let me get your feedback about this. If there's anything you feel might be added. Comments?
Could you scroll back up to the initial part of the reports, please, Carlo? That's good enough. A lot of that, I see the panel recommended, and then in the one case I'm looking at, exonerated, but then the SLCPD finding is still pending, and it just about, well, most of them, even though the panel already has made their recommendation. Is that SOP?
I'm not gonna go so far as SOP.
Wait, SOP?
Standard operating procedure.
Thank you.
Sorry, we were talking military for just a second.
Yeah.
We were getting our camo on. Yeah, I don't think it's SOP. There are some unique aspects of these series of cases that I think has prevented the police department from publishing their findings. That's not the case to the most part in the upcoming quarterly report for you. And that's not the case in most quarterly reports out here where it snowed all day. Generally, they have a finding, not always, but they generally have a finding near the time that, generally after our investigation, but close. So this is a little bit of an outlier as it relates to the fact that the PD doesn't have any published results yet. And that, I think that's because they're still waiting to arrive at their own separate decision. These were a series of, most of them were a series of 19 cases related to canine use. So it's been a long haul. If I ever do another canine case, it'll be too soon.
Caitlin, Tiffany, you have a question?
Yeah, I just was wondering, it looks like similar terminology to the complaint process in terms of like sustained versus exonerated. And I know we have 4 like unfounded, not sustained, sustained, exonerated. Are those the same 4 that you use?
We use a slightly different 4th one. No determination is possible. It's only come up, I think, 3 times in 14 years. And it's just one of those that, I don't know. But like I said, 3 times in 14 years, I don't know how many panels I've done, but it's a ton. There are cases where you just can't get over that preponderance of an evidence threshold. There just isn't sufficient proof to arrive at a conclusion. So in our model, I present the case and 5 of the citizens vote on the verdict because they have an investigative civilian review board model, which is different than La Mesa's model. So also in those same 14 years, I've only felt like the board may have voted differently than I would have voted 3 times. Twice to the detriment of the officer and once in the favor of the officer. So I was maybe leaning the opposite way, but I don't get a vote on those cases, so it doesn't bother me either way. I have no pride of authorship. But these, some cases are tough to call. In the judicial system, those cases would result in a hung jury. And we'd either retry it or the government would say, yeah, we aren't getting any better evidence, we'll let this go.
Thank you. I was wondering if, and I don't want necessarily the IPA to have to change anything here, but if maybe the CPOB could just provide with this as it's given publicly, like that summary of what sustained means. Just so like when the public comes and looks at this, they're like, okay, I understand what sustained means here.
And I can speak to that right now, and it's in the board report on each individual case. So sustained means that the allegation put forth was correct, provable, and is a violation of policy. Exonerated means the allegation put forth occurred, but it's within policy. Unfounded means the allegation put forth did not occur and no determination is possible is, we don't know.
Thank you.
I think what Board Member Tiffany was asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin, but I think somewhere on this form, it would be good to have a key that just states exactly what you just said, possibly at the end or at the beginning. I see, you clearly state at the beginning what the letter S denotes. That's very helpful, especially if this is going forward to members of the community. And is that something that, could be readily available?
Easy.
Easy.
Something else we might consider doing, and because I agree 100%. Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at this and I don't know any of this stuff, I'm going, what the heck is that? So, maybe on the particular web page that is going to host these quarterly reports, there is a piece there that says, as you look at this report, be aware that there's going to be findings and here's what they are and so on, and kind of like a legend, so to speak. That's just one thought. I mean, it could be on the report itself, but there's a couple ways to do it.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Does that, Caitlin, Tiffany, does that address your?
Yes, that was exactly what I was saying.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Other comments about this report form? Anything else as you're looking through it? What questions do you have? What clarifications do you need? Thoughts about how it's presented? And I guess my question is the order that this will take place. If a complaint comes forward, do you wait for the department to undergo their internal investigation, or do you do it simultaneously, or do you present yours and then wait for their? How does it work?
We do a collateral investigation, so we're present during all the interviews, have access to all the evidence, but then we can act because our system is less onerous than the internal affairs system. So we're able to arrive at a conclusion generally quicker than the police department can, because they have layers of review, they have appeal processes and all of those things that we don't have on our side of the fence. And I expect that to be the case here in La Mesa. The case that we noticed tonight that we discussed that we already concluded, we were able to get the complaint, talk to the complainant, talk again on the telephone with the complainant, meet with the complainant, and close the case, I think within 48 hours of that discussion. So that's pretty quick. It would take the police department, any police department, considerably more time. the one saving grace on the one case we've done so far, the one current case we've done so far, is that the finding was unfounded. So with an unfounded, I'm not sure that the police department needs to do anything at this point. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll need to go through an IA matter. And especially on that particular case, in that the underlying allegation was systemic corruption within the department. So it's gonna be pretty hard for IA, not impossible, but it would be pretty hard for IA to investigate its own corruption. So that's why this system works a little bit smoother.
Great. So other questions, comments? All right. Well, it looks very understandable. I appreciate the narrative at the second half of the process. That's very helpful. So I think
I'll just jump in here and make a quick comment too. I think one of the things you're going to find if you get a little more accustomed to the report is that this part that we're looking at here shows you like quite literally every complaint that has come in during that time period. And that's what our quarterly report will show. But then we'll get into kind of really the meat of the report in terms of the narrative with the review and suggestions and recommendations. And so like Rick mentioned, you're going to see a series of recommendations from the audits that we have been doing on some of the previous cases that talk about where maybe investigative improvements can be made, other improvements can be made in processes. And I think you'll find that very useful and helpful. And so like I say, I know for me, when I first saw the report, it's like, wow, I'm trying to put it together in my brain, but it does become relatively simple pretty quick.
really nice work. Any other comments? No public comments, Megan, at this time? No hands raised?
There are no hands raised at this time.
Great. So I believe we don't have to take any action. This is just an opportunity for us to review the template. One question I have just in general, and maybe Carlo Tomino can answer this. Could we have received a copy of this template in our board packet, or was it not ready in time? What happened with that?
The template was just not ready in time to send to the CPOB in advance. So that's why we opted to share the document with you at this meeting to provide for review.
Okay, great. Thank you. Because I know it's always helpful to have a chance to look it over and determine if there's anything that's not clear. But yeah, we appreciate your efforts.
Absolutely. What we can do, though, is send you out the document just after the meeting. And if you have any subsequent comments or thoughts, you can share those with me. I'll share those with Rick and Dennis. And that way we can include any additional considerations in the quarterly report.
That sounds perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. No further questions on the agenda items. Let's move on to staff and board member announcements. Do we have any board member announcements or staff announcements at this time? Carlo?
The only staff announcement that I have is that just as a reminder that the City Council will be making its appointments to the Community Police Oversight Board at its meeting next Tuesday, the 22nd. So stay tuned. And thank you to those who submitted an application. And I appreciate you being interested in continuing to serve on the board. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I in line with that, I just want to say that there are 6 open seats on the CPOB, and the applicants were interviewed at the last City Council meeting, February 8th. All 4 police beats, the faith-based, and the social advocate positions are open. And I just also want to thank the 6 people whose seats are up for review. because we don't know exactly what's what the decision will be announced at the December 22nd, I'm sorry, the February 22nd meeting. And I do want to thank Dr. Brandon Kurtzen. He's moving to Sacramento. Yashika Sylvester and Morgan Davis both completed their term and are ready to hand the baton over. Patricia Dillard, Leroy Johnson, and Caitlin Tiffany all served one-year terms and are now moving forward for a possible second-year term. And I just want to thank all of you for this year, your patience, your perseverance. It's never easy to start off a board like this. There's so many things to consider, like bylaws, procedures, complaint process brochure, review of policies, selection of the IPA, the subcommittee work, and all of the training we've been through. It's been a lot, and we met twice a month, and you all were very engaged and helpful, and I appreciate that effort from everyone. And just know that it was a tough year and you did it. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. Larry, you had a comment? Larry Darby?
It's more of a gee whiz FYI deal. I took a webinar, NACO webinar last week, and it's on the use of police commissions and oversight. It was interesting, but not pertinent to La Mesa. So if you have the opportunity to take it, understand it's really not pertinent to La Mesa. I think there are some cities that have an oversight board and a police commission. And then I think it's Seattle and a couple other cities have an oversight board, a commission, and an inspector general, and all three of them. So it was an interesting class, but not pertinent to La Mesa. And just, as I said, gee whiz information.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. One other thing I wanted to let all of you know is that on February 22nd at the City Council meeting, I will be presenting our annual report, our first year report, to the City Council about the work we've done and about the work we are planning to do for this upcoming year. So that will be at February 22nd meeting, along with the announcements by City Council who will serve for the next 2-year terms on the CPOB. So that's an important meeting. You might want to log on if you can. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock. And usually the commission and board reports are done pretty close to the beginning of the meeting. Patricia Dillard, did you have a comment?
I did. Janet, I know that you and I have talked about this just briefly. We talked about, and I don't know if I'm going to be selected to continue with another year. So I just want to put this out to the board. We had originally talked about just everything that we had gone through with the task force in 2020. And kind of feeling like when we had new board members, it was a process of kind of catching up, and really, I'm sure that there were some times that there were people that just didn't know what was going on and why we were where we were and all of that. And I would just like to make a suggestion that whatever new people that do come on board, that we have some kind of process in place where they're able to meet maybe in person so that we can, or whoever is on the board can, discuss, what has taken place briefly and just kind of updated them a little bit more so that they can get on track a little bit quicker. Because like you mentioned, a lot of the stuff that we did was boring, to be honest with you. It was boring, but necessary, right? And so we just want them to have an understanding, and maybe just even talk to them about their expectations going forward as well, just so that everything is clear about what exactly the CPOB is doing and, you know, just that process to get to where we are at this point. Just a suggestion.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Vice Chair, thank you. That I'm one of those. And I feel like I'm still not quite there, but I'm catching up. So yeah, excellent point. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not just limited to because this just happened last year. It shouldn't just be limited to the brand new people that come on board, but also anyone else that would like to talk about it, just because we went through a whole entire year of, you know, more than half of it being boringness, you know. And so I don't know. I didn't think it was fair. And, you know, so hindsight 2020, but anyway, going forward, I just think it would give a better camaraderie to the board and a better understanding, and maybe even help with the board members feeling more comfortable to make their suggestions.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Carlo, you were next with a question or comment, or
I did want to add a comment about the February 22nd meeting. Another item of interest is the annual work plan. So that's
Oh,
the document that
yes.
you all worked on as part of your subcommittee. So that entire packet will be presented to the city council and included with the agenda as a consent calendar item. And just wanted to make you aware that we are presenting that consistent with the requirements of the CPOB ordinance. And again, we appreciate all of your hard work and your recommendations. And I know that's something that the city council will appreciate receiving with your agenda packet for Tuesday.
Thank you, Carlo. And Yashika Sylvester, you had a comment or question?
Yes, I just was going to piggyback on Patricia. I think that it would be good for, I'm one of the exiting members. So I think it would be good to induct some type of training right off the bat, you know, like, you know, maybe 4 or 5 hour training for all the onboarders to kind of know what they're getting into. You kind of have this fire, what you think, but it's not that. And then you don't know what to expect. So I think that if coming on board, if there's a training right off the bat, maybe some type of certificated training that everybody knows what they're getting into, what to expect, it would be great for the way ahead. And I think meeting everybody, that was a downfall for this year. We didn't ever really get to meet in person and kind of build the camaraderie that we need as a board. But I enjoyed myself, and I think that it was some great work, and I want to thank everyone for working with me and showing me the ropes. And, you know, the way ahead looks very promising. And I think La Mesa, just with doing the trainings that I did, is in a really good position from some of the other cities that I have listened to, trained with, been around. So I think this board is going to do great things. And I just want to again thank you. And, you know, I just think the horizon is going to be wonderful.
Thank you for your work. I agree. It was, we were all really excited when we saw each other at the de-escalation training in Chula Vista with the district attorney's office. And yeah, it is really heartwarming to actually see each other face to face and be able to engage. So yeah, thank you for that, Yashika. I appreciate it. Other comments, board member announcements, anything else? Anybody? There's just one thing I wanted to announce was that I think we had mentioned last meeting about the email. There was some question about where the email for the CPOB goes. Carlo Tomaino and Lynn Dedman set that up there. They will initially get or check that inbox to see if there are any comments and then send them out to all of us. So we appreciate that there's somebody there who is checking on them regularly. And that's good to know. We don't want anything just to languish in an inbox somewhere. So thank you, Carlo and Lynn. So one more thing is I just wanted to announce that I am trying to schedule with Patricia and I a meeting with the POA leadership team the Police Officer Association Leadership Team, Alexander White. I'm working through him to get some things set up so that we can have some discussions about upcoming items, so there's no surprises anywhere. Everybody's comfortable with the movement, the work that we're doing. So that's TBA. And then, Carlo, I guess this is a question for you. Is there any discussion about a face-to-face meetings in the future, or has the city made a determination yet?
Thank you for that question. So the city council has not made an official determination on a return to in-person meetings. In fact, that is an item that is going to appear on the agenda next Tuesday. And so the council requested that that item appear before them for additional consideration. As you all know, I'm sure the mask mandate was just recently lifted. It appears that from the data that we're trending in the right direction in terms of the pandemic, but the city council still needs to discuss the issue and give staff direction on what they desire to see in terms of return to in-person meetings, which would not only include city council, but also our boards and commissions.
Great. So that's another reason to log into the city council meeting on the 22nd. If there's no further announcements, our next CPOB meeting will be March 16th at 4 p.m. And with that, we will adjourn at 5 o'clock. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You.
Here.